The U.S. president's statement was quite serious. Something in it is addressed personally to President Vladimir Putin. We certainly need time to analyze what was said in Washington. If and when President Putin considers it necessary, he will comment on it. The U.S. president's statement was quite serious. Something in it is addressed personally to President Vladimir Putin. We certainly need time to analyze what was said in Washington. If and when President Putin considers it necessary, he will comment on it. The U.S. President's Donald Trump statements are very serious, some of which are personally addressed to Russian President Vladimir Putin. We certainly need time to analyze Washington's statements. And if and when President Putin deems it necessary, he will definitely comment on it. I would rather not run ahead, so let's wait for Putin's decision on whether he will comment on it. For now, one thing is certain. It seems that such decisions made in Washington, NATO countries, and in Brussels are perceived by Ukraine not as a signal to reach peace, but as a signal to continue war. I would like to reiterate that we have repeatedly, at various levels, including the highest level, stated that we are waiting for proposals from Kiev on the timelines for the third round of direct Russian-Ukrainian talks that we remain ready, and we have not received any proposals from Ukraine yet. This is the current state of affairs.
The Washington Post also claims that Trump and Zelensky allegedly discussed possible strikes on Moscow and St. Petersburg. It's clear that the question about its credibility should not be addressed to the Kremlin. However, has Moscow noticed such media reports? And what is its general response to such rhetoric appearing, even if just in the media?
This kind of rhetoric hasn't just emerged now. It usually turns out to be fake. Sometimes there are major leaks, including in media outlets we once considered very reputable. As far as we understand, neither in Washington nor in Europe nor in NATO do they trouble themselves to understand the de facto and de jure situation within the Russian government. Well, Vladimir Medinsky is a presidential aide. In positional hierarchy, Medinsky's position is higher than a federal minister. It means that it is higher than the person who leads a Ukrainian delegation. If NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte means that a historian may hardly head a delegation, perhaps it's worth noting that, if I remember correctly, Mr. Rutte is also a historian, yet I have never heard such brilliant historical parallels and insights from Mr. Rutte, whereas from my colleague Medinsky we've heard them many times.
What could you comment on the change of Ukrainian defense minister, considering that Umerov headed the negotiation group?
It's hard to say. I reiterate, we are not receiving signals about the timelines of the third round, and it's hard to say what the reason is. We are ready to continue the dialogue. This dialogue is desired in Washington, supposedly in Europe as well. Judging by their statements, they seem more likely to wish for a military escalation than for a shift to a peaceful settlement. But Kiev is silent.